All right, welcome to the second part of Mill Lab number 10, subprograms, your first one. We're actually just drilling some holes. So I've got our startup block and everything up here in the main program, and that's what we're working at. I'm using a half-inch diameter spot drill this time. A spot drill is a drill that basically center drills and countersinks at the same time, so it saves you a tool change. There are some controversy surrounding whether a spot drill and a center drill are both as accurate location-wise. I'll leave that up to you. That's a shop thing, and I'm not even going to go there. It's just too controversial. So I'm going to run this half-inch diameter spot drill. It's a 90-degree included angle, by the way. All spot drills are. I'm going to run it at 500 RPM. All right. Now notice I've changed my Z here value to 4 inches because we're also going to use a G 98, which is basically a return to initial plane. A lot of people refer to it as a clamp jump. Okay. And I've got my H number and all that, everything's set up. So the only thing I changed right there was the 4 inches. All right. Now I'm block 60 here. I've moved into the first location. Let's get to the right here. Right there, I've moved to X0Y0Z.1. We're going to do these 4 bolt hole circles. We're going to drill them and counter. We're going to spot drill them and then drill them. Okay, now they don't drill all the way through, so we got a little bit different there on the depth of this hole. We'll talk about that later on. This right here, well, it's called a temporary datum shift. It's also called, and I'm going to change that because the term local datum shift, but it's still a temporary datum shift. What that means is I'm going to go and I'm moving X0, Y0 from here to the center of this bolt hole circle. So that's what I've got down there, local datum shift to bolt hole circle A to center. Let's put center there, CENTER of, there we go, Control S. All right, so I got my local datum shift. That's the first time you've seen a G52. Uh, you can use it a lot, and a lot of people don't use it. A lot of people don't even know it exists. It's a pretty powerful function if you're manually programming, because we're just going to be moving our X0 and Y0 to all these locations. All right, for a spot drill, we're going to use a G82. That's a drill with dwell. He wants a 12 thousandths by 45 degree chamfer on that hole. It's an 1/8 inch hole, so let's clear this out. 0.125, so 12 thousandths per side is 24 plus 0.024 equals that. That's the diameter I want. Of course, it's, spot drill depth calculations are exactly like countersink calculations. Divide that by 2. That's how deep. So I've already got that down. Remember, it's a minus, so I just wanted to show you how I did that. Clear that out of there. All right. Now, I'm going to run this at 2.5 inches per minute. That's going to be my feed. All right. R plane's going to be the same as always, 0.1. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is, of course, I'm going to put in my dwell, which is 1 second. So P1000, Control S. But there's another thing we have to add here. If we don't add this L0, now I'm going to put an L0 right there. If we don't put that L0 there, this thing will drill the first hole it comes to twice. All right. So yes, you want to put that L0 there. Very important. This L0 is very, very important. Don't leave it out. It won't work right if you don't. Control S. All right. So now let's talk about a program call. We've got that right there. Okay. Now, some people you're saying, well, don't you need to mandatorily move it to the first hole? It doesn't hurt to do it. I am going to go ahead and add that in there. Okay. I did my coordinate shift here. But when you do the coordinate shift, this is, okay, to the center there. So I'm going to, a mandatory move to the first hole is, usually that's what we do. We go to the first hole before we do that. Let's go up here. That's why I left that open, enter. Let's make that N75. And I'm going to go G00 to whatever that first hole is. Now, I have to bring up this right here. My first hole is X.5 Y0. So there we go. That's where I want my first hole to be. So let's get that back, minimize that. So X is going to be 0.5, Y is going to be 0. That's all you have to put, Control S. Then I call my G82, okay, which again, the G82 is a drill with dwell. Now I said we were going to use a G98, which means a clamp jump, so we're going to put it right here. A G98 will make, basically, every time this hole drills, instead of rapiding back up to the R plane and moving to the next hole, it's going to go back up to here, 4 inches above the part, go over, wrap it down to the R plane, and then drill. All right. So if there were clamps in the way, and I'm just using this as an example, we only have to put it in there once. Okay. That looks real good right there. Let's double check all that. Yep, got that L0. No decimal point required there, so don't get worried about that. Control S. So let's go in here. N90. Now what are we going to do with the N90? Well, we want to do our subprogram call. Okay, that's going to be an M98. M98, and then we're going to call our subprogram. So you're basically writing two programs. The subprogram is just going to be, we'll write it at the end of this one. Both of them have to be stored in the control, the main program and the subprogram. This is going to tell the control, hey, go get this and use this in this. So here we go. Let's call it an M98, and it's the call, the program number, I'll call that subprogram 5756. Has to begin with a P. So that's your subprogram call. Subprogram call right there. Control S if you haven't done that. Now, that subprogram is going to have the locations of these holes from the center. We already did that in the previous video. Okay, so I'm going to write that subprogram at the end here, but remember it is going to be a separate program. All right, so it's going to have you'll have two programs going in the control. This is going to make the program structure a whole lot easier. Remember, that's a clamp jump. Okay, the G98 is clamp jump, and we've called our subprogram. All right, so what's the next move to make? Well, now we're going to go ahead. We've done, basically, folks, guess what? I have just finished this bow hole circle here. So I'm going to copy this. That's right. I'm going to copy all this. Go back here. Let's go in 100. And I'm going to paste that right there. Okay, get that back here. Now, I want to go to my second one. The only thing I have to change is my second bow hole circle. X is 3. Okay, so there. Local datum shift to center of bow hole circle B. Control S if you haven't done it. All right, guess what all I have to do now? I just have to do this again, which will resequence. This is a lot easier. Okay, I'm just going to call that subroutine and subprogram interchangeable terms. Sorry, but that's the way it is. Control S if you haven't done that. Guess what I just did? Whole. I just did B. I sure did. Okay, so let's go. Okay, I'll make that 110 just for the ease of things. So what I want to do now is, okay, I'm going to do another local datum shift. So this right here. Copy it. I'll just do this right this time. Paste. Okay. Now, that was to whole. Let's see where we're at. So the only thing I have to change, X is still going to be 3, and Y is going to be, I'm changing that because I'm going to the center of this one. Y is 2.25. Control S. Let's go over here and make my note. Local datum shift to center of bow hole circle C. Oh, not 0C. Control S. All right. Now, I'm there. All I have to do is this again. Call my subroutine. Call my subprogram. Okay. And I'll go in 130 just to keep it straight for you. Let's make sure. I don't remember if I copied all that. No, I did not. There, it copied it again. So see, all I had to do is call it to the center of these, then call my subprogram, and it did everything according to that right there, to my G82. So let's see, that was, let's make sure we went to A, B, C. That was C. So we haven't done D yet, have we? I'll do N140, and I just have to copy this again. Not that right there. Copy. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. And this is D. Okay, Control S. And of course, I'll go N150. This is, I'm just doing that, keep it straight, and all I have to do is call my subprogram again. Okay, Control S. And guess what? I just went ahead, believe it or not, and with all these calls, let's go back and see A, B, C, and D. I just spot drilled all of these holes just using these blocks. Isn't that amazing? I mean, it is. It's cool. You know, I did one, two, three. Up this. I didn't get my M98 there. That would have not. I would have got a syntax error for sure. Yeah, it's always best to check that stuff. Also, make sure this G52, you better have the right coordinates here. I got 2.25 x3, 2.25. That's not right. This is x1, so I would have drilled that. See, always check that. Control S. I would have drilled this pattern twice. I would have noticed that real quick. So let's double check those here. So the first one, my first G52 should have been, let me see, x1 y.75. There it is right here. My second G52 would have been, yep, x3 y.75, then x3 y 2.25, then x1 y 2.25. Very good. Now there's some other things we have to do here. In 160, what do we have to do? Well, you better cancel that local coordinate shift right now. So go G52, and how do you do that? Excuse me. X0, Y0. That's right. That's all you have to do. Control S. That'll cancel that out. Now, what else might I want in there? I got a G82 here. Where did I cancel that? Did I cancel that anyplace? Sure doesn't look like it. Now, I'm pretty sure I need to cancel it before I cancel my coordinate. Maybe not. I want to make sure. Seems to me it would be, because that just makes sense. So I'm going to open up a line and go G80. Control S. All right. At that point right there, I believe, now I want to double check everything. Yep, went to the local datum shift, went to this is first hole location. You don't have to do that on all of them. Just on the first one there. And it is mandatory. If you don't put it in there, it won't work. Control S. First hole location. Let's make sure we close that up. Control S. Yep, there we go. Go to that. Go to my first hole location. Call my G82 with my G98. Remember my G98's clamp jump. That L0 is very important once again. Okay, so that right there, that did my entire, okay, that did my entire half inch. So the only thing I have to do now is just go ahead and I'm going to copy, let's see here. I am going to put some other things in here just for me because I like to do this. 170, M5, that'll stop the spindle. All right, let's do this. G28, Z 4.0, new line, N 180 space M5. That'll turn the spindle off. And N 190 M1. Give me an optional stop. I'm not going to write that in there by now. If you don't know what those codes mean, well, I can't help you out too much. That's all there is to it. All right, now I'm ready to go ahead and program my second, which here's the cool thing about it. All I have to do is a tool change. All right, so let's get some lines here by hitting enter. Open up some stuff. Okay, this G28, we probably ought to put an M09 there, an M9 there, turn the coolant off too. That's always a good thing. That looks pretty good. Got my G80, cancel my can cycle, cancel my local datum shift. Okay, very good. Now I'm ready for a tool change. So let's just go up here and get all this stuff. Copy. We'll do a space here. Paste. Okay. This time I'm using, it's not a spot drill. It's going to be a regular old 1/8 inch drill. We're going to calculate up some speeds for that, but I'm making sure this is tool 2, making sure this is H2. Keep that Z4 in there right here. Remember, we want to do a clamp jump, Control S. So let's see here. The only thing that we don't have is the right speed. Calculate that up real quick here. So I'm using a cutting speed of 120 times 3.82 equals this, divided by 0.125, going to equal 3,000 something. Let me double check that again. So 120 times 3.82 equals this, divided by 0.125. Yeah, I thought that seemed a little slow. So we set 3,000. Let's say 3,700. Yeah, 3,600 would be fine. That'll be fine. So we'll just do that. 3,600. Okay. So let's bring this up here. Let's hit Control S if we haven't done that. So check all that. So yeah, now we're ready for tool 2, H2. Got my spindle on clockwise. Got all that going on there. Now guess what I'm going to do? You're going, oh, I bet he's just going to copy and paste all of that. The only thing I have to change, and you're right, I just see, this is the beauty of it. You're going to say, oh my God, really? That's all there is to it? See, subprograms are incredibly, let's do this right. You know what? I'm going to do this if it's all right with you. Even if it's not all right with you, I'm doing it anyway. Because I want all of that. Okay? And you pull that up there, it'll do that automatically. Let's skip a line. And I'm going to paste. Now, the only thing I have to change here in this block, all of that's right. I'm just going to change this to a G81 because it's a standard drill. I could use a G83, but I think I'll just use a G81. You have to look in the instructions and see. Okay, definitely, since it's a G81, we're going to have to change our Z depth. So we want to add the tool point because if you look here over at the print, 300,000 steep, but it goes to full diameter. I'm not going to zoom in that it does, so I have to add my drill point to that. So clear it off. So remember, it's 0.3 times the drill diameter, so 0.3 times 0.125 equals that. And then we add it to plus 0.3 equals this. Let's copy that. Okay, paste it right here. Control S. We don't have to be so anal for the 5/10. Control S again. Feed. That feed is not right. Okay, so let's do our feed. It's going to be 2 thousandths for every 1/8 inch of drill diameter. Clear that. So that's 2 thousandths. So take 0.002 times my RPM to convert it to inches per minute. My RPM was 3,600. 3600, 7.2 inches per minute. Let's copy that. Paste. Control S. Now, I don't need that P because it's not a G82 anymore. So delete that. Delete it. The L0, you definitely have to have that. No decimal point required. But if you don't do that, you'll drill the first hole in this pattern twice. Okay? Control S. All right. That all looks real good. I don't have to do any more of these subroutine calls or anything. It's all beautiful. So that's what's going on. At this particular point, I'm going to take a small break. All right, so we're back here. Uh, what do we want to do? Well, like I said, we have done all of that. I'm going to make this big so we can take a look at just how short a program it is. You know, most of what you see there, most of the work was just my notes. Uh, so tool 2, let's see. Let me double check my G81. Remember, the G98 is a clamp shift. We want to make sure, or clamp jump, excuse me. So we got all that. That's Oh no, this is yeah, 337 is the right depth. The feed's right. That's make sure that L0 is in there. The G98 again means it's simply this. One more time. Every between every hole, it's going to wrap it up to 4 inches above the part, and then it's going to wrap it back down to 100 thousandths above the part, and then it'll drill down to 337 thousandths, wrap it back out to 100 thousandths, and then just repeat that process over and over again. And each time I've called one of these different bolt hole circles. So see it. Look at the length of my program is compared to what it would have been. It's incredibly small. It's incredibly small. There's only one other thing I need to do. I just wanted to rehash that. I'm going to, of course, resequence here, make sure everything's right. I don't need that. I keep forgetting M30s could stand by themselves just fine, and it's probably best to do that. And then a percentage sign. Now we still have to, what do we have to do? Well, we still have to we have to create the, here, Control S, the subprogram. So, but that's how the main program works with the subprogram calls and everything else like that. Like I said, it is in your book. The guy does a kind of a decent job on that. I'm going to make sure that I haven't done anything else that is weird here. I'm looking real quick. No, yeah. So I'm going to call my subprogram 5756. So let's go down here and write a subprogram. Now, you could not, remember this, your subprogram has to be a separate program. You can't put it in here like I'm doing. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. You need to write it on in a different program. I've got a place to upload the subprogram into Ivy Learn, and a place to upload it into the main program too. So, how do we write our subprogram? Well, there's a little bit of different things. Okay, the first thing you have to do is you have to say, okay, guess what? You know, there's no doubt about this. You have to give it a program name, just like before. A capital O. Oh, I don't know why so many people have trouble with that. 5756. Okay, obviously that's our program name. And I left that as here. I'm gonna call that 10A. Yeah, Control S. There we go. I didn't know I had that. So I'll just do this. Copy, paste, and this is my sub program. Alright, Control S. So that's my program name right there. Alright, all you have to do, okay, is just go ahead and add your hole coordinates. That's it. So let's bring this one back up here. Here it is. Here's my hole coordinates. I don't have to do a whole lot of anything else. Just your hole coordinates. You can call it anything you want. You might put in a comment statement here that says 6 hole BHC, just to keep that. Oh, great. BHC. Okay. There, Control S. You can put that any place. Remember, you don't have to have a number. Now I'm going to put some sequence numbers in there. I'll resequence this part of it here first, later on in a few minutes here. So this is my subprogram, and the only thing that you have to do to identify a subprogram, okay, is add an M99 to the very end of it. Now I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's put in our positions. So I'm going to do this, put this over here, minimize it, try it again. Alright, there we go. So now you don't have to have any G00s or anything, okay? You just have to have your hole coordinates. So X is going to be 0.5, Y is going to be 0, new line. And if you want to put program, I'm going to put a sequence number in there. Okay, good. So this is x.25. Y is going to be 0.433. And let's put an x here. Yep. Control S, by the way. Yeah. Now I'm going to put here, just for this, whole one. We'll tab that over. Tab. Control S. Okay. So let's see what hole 3 is. And, I wish I could just copy these right off here. I'll try that. Why not? Seems like it ought to be easier. I'll put it right here. Oh, I have to add some stuff. It may not be that easy. So that's going to be X. And let's delete some stuff here. And this is going to be Y. Okay, so let's tab these over. Tab, tab, tab. Control S if you haven't done that. New line. Oops. That was okay. So hole 4, I'll copy it. Make sure there ain't a space there. There's not. Yep. I don't really need that 0 0.0. There was a space. I thought I saw something. No, that's not the way it worked. Okay, whatever. Ah, really? Come on. Tab. I'm going to have to get a new keyboard. All of my numbers are starting to fade. They're just wearing off. How much do you have to type on a keyboard to do that? Yeah, 5. This seems to be working okay. I mean, if you're going to do it like this, why type it in again? I'll put the Y right here this time. I got an idea. Delete backspace one more time. Yeah, there we go. Tab. And this is my subprogram. I'm writing Control S. All right, new line. And here's my last hole. Now remember, if we're just doing 2 tools here. What if I were doing 5 tools? This would save you a tremendous amount of time. I mean, really. I'm doing this differently each time. Bear with me. Control S. Okay, so you're going, what else? That's it? No, you need a couple other things in there, okay? You do. Now, in place of an M30, you want an M99, and that is incredibly important, okay? Don't forget that M99, Control S, because that says return to the main program. Then it'll go back and it'll do what it's supposed to do. It'll do its shift, it'll do its M98. It will. And then the only other thing we knew, and yes, you have to have this, even every program has to have this, is a percentage sign, Control S. Now this I would copy and paste. You can write it like this if you want, however you want to write it, but remember this has to be a separate program. This cannot be the same. You load this one in the control, you load the main control one in the control. When it sees this, it's going to go down here and look for this, and then it'll call it up. It's really neat to watch it work. It's incredibly efficient. So let me see, Control S. Just make sure I've done that. That's it. Uh, Let me see if there's some other things I might want to add in there. You know what? This won't hurt a bit. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a G80 in there just for the fun of it. It certainly isn't going to hurt anything to have that G80 in there. So it cancels it there. We got it canceled. You got it canceled up here and also canceled down there. It's not going to hurt it at all. As long as it calls it each time. So the G80 and everything else is in there because I got my G28. So that's the only thing I'm going to put in there. I'm just going to put that G80 in there. And honest to God, I don't even know that you have to have it in there. As I look sometimes, it depends on the person that actually does it. But what I don't see a lot of times is sometimes they don't put them in there, sometimes they do, sometimes they put them up here. All right. Uh, you know what? I think I'm just going to do this. I'm going to delete that. Yeah. I'm going to back up here and delete that too. Get rid of it. I'm going to resequence this. Okay, Control S. All right. Get rid of this. We don't need him anymore. Make this great big. Go all the way to the top. And come down to, let's see here, right to there. And I'm going to copy, get Predator Editor going here. Paste, process, resequence, okay. Control A, copy, close, no, and paste, boom, Control S. There we go. Now I have all my numbers all nice and resequenced. Let me double check them. Now I went through this pretty quick because I didn't want it to be, oh, there is a problem. 2 percentage signs, no good. Matter of fact, I am going to do this right here. Delete, 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 delete. Now I'm going to hit Control S. Trust me, that ghost code can cause you some trouble. You don't want ghost code in a subprogram, but this is your subprogram, okay? Nor do you want it in your main program. 10A, main. I'm going to change the title of this. Instead of 10A, main, Program, main program. Yeah. Whoops. Yeah, Control. I didn't spell main right. I know how to spell main. Control S. Put a space here. Control S. Because down here, this is MillLab 10A subprogram. MillLab 10A. I'm going to change this here. Cut. Delete. Space. I get my, make sure that does not look like a capital M. It wasn't. Control S. So Randall Redker MillLab number 10A main program. 10A subprogram. Actually, it's MillLab 10, so I'm going to get rid of the A. I have to have that on there. Control S. Yeah. Control S again. Okay, remember, this does have to be, all of this right here has to be a separate program. You need to send it in to me as a separate program. The rest of it looks like that. And that's it. The nice thing about it is how quick it took. Didn't take very long at all. All right.